Mark stared at the termination letter, his hand trembling slightly. Not his, but Sarah's. Sarah, who had been with the company for 15 years, a single mother, the bedrock of their department. Just 3 months ago, Mark, as her direct manager, had stood by her side, defending her against a baseless accusation from a powerful client. He'd gathered evidence, rallied the team, and presented a watertight case to HR and senior leadership, protecting Sarah and the integrity of their work. He'd been assured, implicitly and explicitly, that the company stood behind its people, especially those who showed unwavering loyalty. Now, due to a sudden, unexplained restructuring, Sarah was being let go, along with several other long-serving, high-performing individuals. Mark had fought for her, escalated her case, pleaded with every senior executive he knew. But each email was met with silence, each phone call unreturned, each meeting request politely declined. The system, the very organization he had dedicated 2 decades of his life to, the one he had fiercely protected, had simply gone quiet. It wasn't a direct betrayal, but a chilling, deafening silence that spoke volumes. He felt a profound sense of disillusionment, a cold realization that his loyalty, his years of dedication, meant nothing when the organization decided to look the other way. He was left holding Sarah's fate, with no answers, no support, and a crushing sense of powerlessness. In the intricate tapestry of corporate life, loyalty is often hailed as a virtue, a cornerstone of success. But what happens when that loyalty is met not with support, but with a chilling, strategic silence? When you've poured years of your life, your energy, your very essence into an organization, only to find yourself abandoned, or worse, forced to abandon those you've protected, when you need the system to stand with you. This isn't just a story of corporate politics. It's a profound human struggle with trust, betrayal, and the search for meaning in a world that often feels transactional. We are taught to be team players, to be dedicated, to believe in the mission. But what if the very foundation of that belief crumbles under the weight of institutional indifference? What if the path to true peace isn't about fighting the silence, but about understanding its nature and finding a deeper source of strength within? Join us as we explore the painful truth of loyalty tested by silence, and discover how ancient wisdom offers a compassionate framework for navigating these profound disillusionments. David had always been the quiet backbone of the engineering department at Veridian Corporation. For 25 years, he'd been there, through countless product launches, market shifts, and leadership changes. He wasn't flashy, didn't seek the limelight, but his technical expertise was legendary, and his unwavering commitment to his team was an open secret. He was the first to arrive, the last to leave, often working through weekends to ensure projects were delivered on time and under budget. He shielded his junior engineers from unreasonable demands, mentored countless new hires, and consistently went above and beyond, driven by a deep sense of loyalty to Veridian and its mission. His moment of reckoning came during the Project Phoenix debacle. A critical software component, developed by an external vendor, failed spectacularly during final testing, threatening to derail a multi-million-dollar launch. The vendor, a powerful and politically connected entity, immediately pointed fingers at David's team, claiming their integration work was flawed. David knew it was a lie. He had meticulously documented every interaction, every code review, every test result. He spent weeks, day and night, compiling an exhaustive report, demonstrating unequivocally that the fault lay with the vendor's core product. He presented his findings to his direct manager, then to the department head, and finally, with their encouragement, to the executive leadership team. He expected support, vindication. He expected the organization to stand by its loyal employee, its technical expert, its shield. Instead, he was met with a wall of silence. Emails went unanswered. Meeting requests were ignored. His phone calls to senior VPs, who who had once praised his dedication, now went straight to voicemail. The vendor was too big, too influential. The company, it seemed, had decided that protecting its relationship with the vendor was more important than protecting David or the truth. David was quietly told to let it go, to move on, that these things happen. His report, meticulously compiled, was buried. The vendor was retained. His team, though not officially blamed, felt the unspoken accusation, the shadow of doubt. David felt a cold, bitter taste in his mouth. He had given everything, fought every battle for them, and when he needed them most, the organization had simply vanished into a deafening silence, leaving him to bear the weight of an unspoken betrayal. The years of loyalty, the sacrifices, the belief in the system, it all felt like a cruel joke. He was left with a profound sense of emptiness, a burning question: what was it all for? David's story is a poignant echo of a common human experience, the profound disillusionment that arises when our loyalty, our dedication, is met with institutional silence or perceived betrayal. In a world that often values expediency over integrity and profit over people, how do we navigate the crushing weight of such experiences? When the very systems we trust fail us, how do we find a way to heal, to rebuild, and to rediscover our sense of purpose? This isn't about assigning blame, but about understanding the nature of suffering that arises from such situations. Ancient wisdom, particularly Buddhist philosophy, offers a powerful, compassionate lens to examine these wounds, not to erase the pain, but to transform our relationship with it, and to find a path towards inner peace and renewed strength, even when the external world remains silent. A Buddhist perspective, David's experience of being abandoned by the organization he served so loyally is a clear manifestation of dukkha, suffering, arising from avidya, ignorance, of the impermanent and impersonal nature of external systems, and tanha, craving/clinging, to the idea of reciprocal loyalty and justice from an external entity. The core issue is the suffering that arises when our expectations of fairness and support from an external system are shattered. The Four Noble Truths of Organizational Disillusionment. 1. The truth of suffering. Dukkha. The suffering is evident in David's profound disillusionment, the sense of betrayal, the feeling of emptiness, and the crushing powerlessness. This suffering arises from the gap between his expectation of loyalty and support from the organization and the reality of its silence and self-preservation. It's the pain of a broken trust and a shattered ideal. 2. The truth of the origin of suffering. Samadaya. The origin of this suffering lies in the clinging to the idea that an organization, being an impersonal entity, can reciprocate personal loyalty and ethical conduct in all circumstances. This craving is fueled by avidya, the ignorance of anicca, impermanence, and anatta, not self, as applied to organizations. We project human qualities onto institutions, expecting them to behave with the same moral compass as individuals, and when they don't, we suffer. The systemic focus on short-term gains and risk aversion also contributes to this suffering. 3. The truth of the cessation of suffering. Nirodha. The cessation of this suffering comes not from forcing the organization to change, but from letting go of the craving for external validation and the clinging to an idealized version of the organization. It comes from accepting the impersonal nature of large systems and finding peace in acting with integrity regardless of external reciprocation. It's about cultivating upekkha, equanimity, a balanced mind that understands the limits of external control. 4. The truth of the path to the cessation of suffering. Magga. This path is the Noble Eightfold Path, which guides us in cultivating wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline to navigate such profound disillusionments with resilience and inner peace. The Noble Eightfold Path to healing and rebuilding trust. Right view, samadhi. This is the understanding that organizations, like all phenomena, are impermanent and ultimately impersonal. Their actions are driven by a complex interplay of factors, profit, risk, politics, that may not align with individual loyalty or ethics. Right view helps David see that his worth and integrity are inherent, not dependent on external validation or organizational reciprocation. It's the understanding of interconnectedness, that while the organization failed him, his actions still had a positive impact on his team and his own character. Right intention, Sama Sakapa, instead of the intention to seek revenge or dwell in bitterness, the intention shifts to healing, self-preservation, and finding new avenues for meaningful contribution. For David, this means intending to process his emotions, learn from the experience, and channel his energy towards building trust in relationships that are truly reciprocal. Right speech, Samavaka. This involves speaking truthfully about his experience, but with wisdom and discernment. It means avoiding speech that fuels resentment or bitterness, and instead focusing on expressing his feelings constructively, perhaps to a trusted friend or therapist. It's about using language that promotes healing, not further suffering. Right action, Samakamanta. This means taking actions that are wholesome and beneficial for his well-being and future. For David, this might involve seeking new employment that aligns better with his values, continuing to mentor his former team members, if appropriate, engaging in activities that rebuild his sense of purpose and trust, perhaps outside the corporate world, setting healthy boundaries to protect himself from similar situations in the future. Right livelihood, Sama Ajiva. This involves reflecting on whether his current work environment truly nourishes his spirit. If the disillusionment is too deep, right livelihood might prompt him to seek a role or organization where integrity and people are genuinely valued, or even to explore a completely different career path that offers more personal fulfillment. Right effort, Samavayama. This is the effort to prevent unwholesome states like anger, resentment, or despair from taking root, and to cultivate wholesome states like acceptance, resilience, and self-compassion. It's the effort to consistently bring awareness to his emotional state and to gently redirect his mind towards constructive thoughts and actions. Right mindfulness, Samasati. This is the practice of being fully present with the pain of disillusionment without judgment. David can observe his feelings of betrayal, anger, and sadness, allowing them to be, without being overwhelmed. This practice creates space for emotional processing and prevents suppression, which can lead to long-term suffering. Right concentration, Samasamadhi. Through sustained mindfulness and right effort, David can develop a deeper state of mental calm and focus. This allows him to gain clarity on the situation, to understand the impersonal nature of the organization's actions, and to find inner peace that is independent of external circumstances or the actions of others. When loyalty is met with silence, the path forward is not about seeking external validation, but about reclaiming your inner integrity and redefining your purpose. Here's how to navigate such profound disillusionment. 1. Acknowledge and process your pain. Don't suppress the feelings of betrayal, anger, or sadness. Allow yourself to feel them fully, without judgment. Journaling, talking to a trusted friend or therapist, or engaging in mindful movement can help process these emotions. 2. Separate self-worth from external validation. Your value as an individual is not defined by an organization's actions or its reciprocation of your loyalty. Recognize that your integrity, dedication, and compassion are inherent qualities that remain, regardless of external circumstances. 3. Learn from the experience, without bitterness. Reflect on what happened. What lessons can you draw about organizational dynamics, personal boundaries, and where to invest your energy? This is about gaining wisdom, not dwelling in resentment. 4. Redefine loyalty. Shift your loyalty from an impersonal entity, the organization, to your values, your principles, and the people who truly reciprocate your trust and support. Build relationships based on genuine connection, not just professional obligation. 5. Focus on your sphere of influence. While you may not be able to change an entire system, you can choose how you respond. Direct your energy towards areas where you can make a positive impact, whether in a new role, a different organization, or through personal pursuits. 6. Cultivate self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. You've been through a difficult experience. Treat yourself with the same understanding and empathy you would offer a friend. This is a journey of healing, and it takes time. When the very foundation of your dedication crumbles under the weight of institutional silence, and the loyalty you offered is met with indifference, what remains of your commitment? Is it the organization's betrayal that truly wounds, or the shattering of your own ideals about fairness and reciprocation? What if the deepest form of loyalty isn't to an external entity, but to your own truth, your own integrity, and your own path to peace, regardless of how the world responds? The corporate world often demands unwavering commitment, but true wisdom lies in discerning when to hold fast and when to gently, compassionately, let go, finding your own way to thrive beyond the silence. If this message resonates with your own journey of loyalty tested, share it with someone who might be silently navigating the pain of institutional indifference. Let's build a community where integrity is celebrated and healing is possible, even when the system remains silent. Namaste.